Hello and welcome to Friends of the Force, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Brad.
And I'm your host, Sarah.
And this week on the show, we are remembering Resistance. That is Star Wars Resistance, the TV series that came and went too quickly in our lives. And today we have the honor of chatting with none other than Tam Ryvora herself, Suzie McGrath. We are so excited to have Suzie on the show. We are both big Tam fans, and it's just special to keep remembering Resistance each and every year, which is our annual fan-driven event where we just all share in the love of Resistance, talk about our favorite moments, characters, episodes, you name it. It technically happened last week, so this is a little late treat because there's never a bad time to remember Resistance. And we love our alliteration.
That's exactly right. And we love Tam, of course, because her journey throughout these two seasons is one of finding your place, of making mistakes and forgiveness and acceptance. And these are the things, like when Star Wars is at its best, this is what it is. And so it was so wonderful to have the pleasure to talk to Suzie about her journey as Tam and her experience working on Star Wars.
Yeah, absolutely. Suzie was such a joy to talk with. We had a lot of really fun banter throughout this one and a lot of really fun ideas that were thrown around that I think we should put many pins in because I think so. I like a lot of these ideas. Great job,
absolutely.
Us.
Yeah.
Great job, future us that you're about to listen to, but also past us for experiencing it. But now you can experience it.
That's right.
So without further ado, let's turn it over to our interview with the voice of Tam Ryvora, Suzie McGrath.
Got a name, kid? DT-533. 533? A new recruit, right? It's not too late to get out of this, you know. I can help you.
Look around. I'm not the one who needs help.
Then some advice. Pilot to pilot, watch your back. Individuality isn't a trait the First Order tolerates.
You're wrong. They're helping me achieve what I've always wanted.
And what's that?
Suzie, thank you so much for joining us here on Remembering Resistance weekday, but I think there's never a bad day to remember Resistance. Every day is
Every day is Remembering Resistance. And it's about time, right? You know?
I know. Like, how could we keep doing this event and not have Tam Ryvora herself join us on the show? So honored to have you here. First question right off the bat, in the spirit of remembering Resistance, how do you remember Resistance now almost 5 years after the show ended?
Has it been 5 years? You know what? This is just, it's blown by. Time is like, they say time doesn't really exist. It does. Like, for me, it's like, it's like it was yesterday. How do I remember Resistance fondly? It was a lovely time. And just such a wonderful experience working with everybody. Everybody was so open and so generous with their creativity and their time and their kindness. So yeah, it was one of the most enjoyable times of my life so far,
And as for us fans, it was also a really enjoyable time to watch the journey of the Colossus crew. And I watched a handful of episodes today just to prepare and get in the Resistance mood. And I was like, man, I remember some of these lines as if I, rehearsed them yesterday. There are such iconic moments and lines where I was like, it's coming up, even if I haven't, seen the episode in a minute, which is always a really comforting thing for me. Kind of zooming out and looking at Star Wars as a whole a little bit, we love to get to know our guests a little bit more by asking, what is your history as a Star Wars fan and when did Star Wars come into your life?
So, in all honesty, I have a terrible memory. I don't remember much of my childhood, but I remember the culture. I remember it's always been there. Star Wars has always been there for me, especially being an 80s child, And I remember, I think my most vivid memories are Ewoks. The Ewoks and just the kind of the greenery and the foliage from those scenes. I do have vivid memories of that. And just culture, like everyone had Star Wars merchandise, I think is something that has never gone away. But that was something that I just grew up with, and vivid memories of Darth Vader and just hearing that voice. And it kind of made it a little scary, you know?
We hear the Ewoks a lot. That feels like a common theme for a lot of people, myself included, because I remember watching those old VHS tapes. My brother plopping me in front of the TV and just being like, these Ewoks are adorable. And they're also murdering stormtroopers. I love them.
Yeah. And I think C-3PO as well.
Yes.
For sure. It's like, if you think of Star Wars, I go there. But the Ewoks got it. It's because they're cute. All of the cute species always get special attention. I feel like they're the essence of Star Wars is the aliens and the beings, the different life entities
and the
galaxy.
Connection.
Yeah.
The connection to the toys too. You know, it's always the cute things that get the toys, and you're like, yes, here's the cute thing that I have.
Yeah.
That, I don't know. That's how I kind of put it all together.
No, and I noticed Brad has some Resistance toys in the background, which is awesome.
I've got a Gorg.
Oh yeah, I have a Gorg too. I had to put my toys away because I don't have space, right? But they are lovingly together, very and not too far from me, but just packed away really nicely and cherished. And I have a few extra toys that I like to try and give to my nephews and things. If someone special comes and I want to give them something special, then they'll get a toy or they'll get some cards or something. But but toys wise, I had a session with a chiropractor, and he was a huge Star Wars toy collector, and he was showing me all his different toys. It was really cool. And then I also started dating someone, and she then let me know that she was a huge Star Wars fan and has a collection. So she got out her box of toys as well. So I think toys is the way forward. We're just all big kids, aren't we?
Truly. I mean, you can see in my background, big kid here.
Yeah, right.
With the big
money.
kid money.
I became an adult and I was like, I can buy things now. Including these Resistance figures, which, by the way, there is no Tam action figure, which I find offensive, first off.
Me too.
But I will say,
I'm glad you said it.
And we said the same thing. I think we said the same thing when we had Josh Brenner on the show. We're like, where's the Niku merch too? Like, there are so many characters who we could have had merch for.
That toy would be amazing. The Niku, the yellow, and he's green. Like, that would be such a cool toy.
Yeah.
So cool.
I need the whole crew.
Truly. I did go to New York Comic Con last year though, and I did actually find anytime we go to like Celebration or Comic Cons or anything, we find any Resistance tidbits. We always like to tweet it out and be like, it's still here.
Yeah.
I saw a Commander Pyre cosplayer at the London Celebration, which is fantastic. But I did find a Topps Tam Ryvora Topps card. It's like brand new, like just released last year. It was part of like a random pack that was like $150, and I was like, I might make a bad decision today and spend $150, but if I pull the Tam card, I'll be happy. I wasn't able to afford it at the time, but I was considering going into debt just for Tam for just a moment.
See, and that is such a compliment. That is such a compliment in this society. I was going to go into debt for you, but she's worth it, I think.
Totally.
Tam's totally worth going into debt for.
If I see it again this year, I'm going to text my wife and say I'm doing it, and she's going to agree with me because, you know, she loves Tam also. We'll put it on the mantle if I find it.
Please do.
That would be very cute in your house.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to give you guys an assignment, and I think you should contact Lucasfilm, collaborate with them, and put together a Remembering Resistance figurines action set and finish the job, people. Let's see a Tam, let's see a Niku, let's see a tiny little babies everywhere.
Little bubbles.
Bitey, some bitey. Let's see some
I-
bites.
I love it. I'm penciling things down. Lucasfilm, hear us.
We're think tanking over here. You're welcome, Lucasfilm.
Right.
We'll bring the
Okay.
big poster boards and
Right.
just stand outside the headquarters. Just be like, resistance figures now.
Mhm,
We'll buy
mhm.
them.
Yeah, totally. We should do a petition.
We should. Petitions are actually pretty effective, not gonna lie. So I think that's a right
I
to
think-
protest,
yeah.
a right to petition.
Yeah.
So, thinking about your Star Wars history, we'd also love to know a little bit about like your career as an actor, as a voice actor. Like what led you down that career path? And, when did you first know you wanted to pursue that? And just how has it been, fulfilling for you?
Oh, it's a roller. This life, let me tell you, it's a roller coaster. You're up, you're down, you're around the corner. It's 1 minute you're destitute, and the next, you're on top. It's a vocation. Honestly, being an actor was just something that I became as I never really knew, but in school I had learning difficulties, so I was never academic. And kind of in hindsight, being an adult, having all of that retrospect, it was drama and theatre and acting that actually got me to concentrate and to understand and to kind of bring out my best. So I just pursued, honestly, what I was good at, and what fulfilled me and made me feel good. And I will do that until, the day I die. But yeah, so I think I'm just an actor, and I went the tract of, while I was in school, that those were the classes that I took. And so I did drama, and then I did theatre studies, and then I classically trained, and did a Bachelor of Arts at drama school. And then just continually have representation, and it goes in tides, and I've gone through different chapters. And I think voiceover came about because I was currently working with a manager at the time, and she was like, would you ever like to, like, are you interested in voiceover? Would you ever want to do that? And I was like, ever want to do that? This is like my life's dream, is to be a cartoon character. Hold on, of course I want to do that. And so she had set me up with my now agents, who I've been with ever since. And together we've been making my dreams come true. But and I love voiceover. I love it, love it, love it. And it's only recently why I've been discovering why. As I kind of but it's cool, and I'll do it forever.
And what speaks to you about voice acting?
What speaks to me? Voice acting for me. So I'm the type of person that's like, all acting is acting, storytelling, no matter what medium. But what speaks to me is, I don't know. It just, like I say, I pursue the things I'm good at, right? And I pursue the things that feel good for me. I like the format. I like the way the industry is. I like the way I receive material and how I can work on it and how I can have it in front of me. Because, like I say, my memory is not the best. So I don't want to be stressing about remembering my lines when I can just have all of my, and so it's just something that I really enjoy doing it. I love it. And I found that everyone that works in this industry is super cool and really talented and very interesting. And so I don't know that I could ever really get bored. There's always something new to explore, or somebody to kind of marvel over. And these characters, like, I like that. I think I'm a little melodramatic, and but I quite like that heightened sense of performance.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. From an outsider's perspective, it feels like the the box of what we have to be within a society or whatever. You know, it's different if you're going on a daytime medical show where it kind of exists within this very rigid sort of architecture. This is how the characters who are guests are, or the main characters who are the doctors, versus like in animation, you can do anything and be anyone. And, you know, the boxes of humanness are taken away at
possibilities,
times.
I guess. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I like that. I like the possibility. I think I do play very close to self, but I like the idea of, like, the point of being an actor. One of the enjoyable things is being a chameleon and doing something completely different, or, you know, exploring something that's completely not you. Like, that's the fun of the play. And so I think with voiceover, the possibilities are a little more extensive, which is, it's fun. And sometimes things work. Sometimes kind of stretching yourself all the way to the other side works. And then sometimes it doesn't, but at least you get to explore that. I don't know that I just want to play people's best friend on screen forever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, so.
And you've had some like pretty neat voice acting gigs, at least the last couple of years. I mean, starting with Star Wars Resistance, obviously, but as soon as I saw like one of the first Halo Infinite commercials, and Sarah and I are big Halo. We love Halo. It's fun.
Oh, yay.
And we're like, wait a minute. That's Suzie McGrath's voice.
I know that voice.
Are you kidding me? And now every
Halo
time I
is
load up a match in Halo, I get to hear Tam Ryvora be like, let's do this thing. And I'm like, great.
Exactly,
love it.
right?
You know, and that's cool. And then you came back for Tales of the Empire, Return to Star Wars, and you played a Dathomirian witch and, you know, a mother.
So
and
happy about that.
It's so cool. And again, like, it's cool to see just the breadth of characters that you've gotten to, you know, voice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, major highlight to come back and work with Lucasfilm again. So cool.
Always a good thing when you get that call.
Yeah. Oh, really, really, really. And then I think Halo was really cool because that was performance capture. So I did have to learn my lines for that. And kind of do I guess it's a little bit more like theatre. Which is really cool. But playing a Spartan, like, I'm small, like, not small, but I'm like quite short, really. So playing, you know, 8 foot tall, was really fun. Really, really fun.
That's my personal dream as a shorter person, is to be really tall in my dreams.
I feel short as a man, so I was gonna say you're representing the short people in the Spartan Halo universe. So thank you for your service.
Yay! I've got your back. Okay. And together we're gonna, you know, we can do these, you know, big, strong, tough roles. Because I'm not big. I mean, I'm strong, but I'm not a meanie, or I'm not, you know, I'm not a machine.
Definitely that's fair. And, you know, maybe for all of us, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, right.
Thinking about Tam and Resistance and this show in particular, you know, what did you know about Tam before you started recording, and how did you go about crafting her voice, her personality, her style, and how did that evolve as you continued to work on this character?
So again, it's one of these things where the stars, excuse the pun, the stars just aligned with her, because I received the audition and I just felt connected. I felt connected to her. I immediately felt like I could feel her layers and her vulnerability. I think we're quite close to each other, being big old dreamers, you know, and being quite feisty, and, you know, maybe pretend to be a bit tougher than what we really are. And I think I immediately felt for her, but felt inspired by her. And it was really nice. It's not often that you pick, and I do, and it's one of the best feelings when you pick up a script and you go, oh, I can play this character, I really like it. And then bing, 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 you get all of your ideas calm, and it just flows nicely. And that's what happened with Tam. And I think that's potential. I can't speak for other people, but I think that's what happened on the production side as well, because I don't think there were many Tams. I think there was just the one Tam.
The one and only Tam.
The
I
one,
mean, she's
yes, yeah, the one and only Tam.
like the first time I saw her, I was like, I love this character because she's got such an interesting like backstory. You know, she like left home and wanted to become a racer, and now she's working as a mechanic and like still has those dreams. And she, in my mind, like she is her and Kaz, like the two leads of the series, in my opinion, like the trajectories that they have. And it's just so beautiful how it all culminates at the end. What were some of your favorite aspects of Tam? Like just seeing how that story played out, especially it's a story of one of like forgiveness, right? Like she makes a lot of mistakes throughout the show, but nobody ever condemns her for that, right? And she ultimately is forgiven and she's welcomed back into the family. So there's just so many great aspects to her. But like, what are some of your favorite like Tam aspects, or maybe even like Tam moments?
Oh, well, I think I was really happy and proud that Tam got to have the story arc that she did, and that she was able to be a whole person. And I think just in general, I'm not going to go ranting on about the world and people and stuff, but I think empathy is something that, and tolerance is something that Tam was shown. And I think we're all different. We have different paths. I think we all have different motivations and reasons for why we might need to do certain things at certain times. And I think it was really cool especially for, a family show, that we were able to kind of show somebody and feel like, to see why someone goes down that path, to see what leads somebody to go, to make a bad decision or to go down the wrong path, or, is it wrong? We just have to, what's wrong and what's right, just because one person, what, anyway, I think, do you get what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Because like the great thing about Tam is like it's not just, hey, I want to be part of the First Order. It's like I feel like an outcast kind of. Here comes Kaz. He's kind of getting special treatment as the newbie. I've been here my whole life working
so
my butt
hard
off, and now the First Order comes, and in Tam's eyes, she sees it not as an adversary or like an obstacle, but she sees it as an opportunity to say like, and they have their own motives, right? Their ulterior motives, but they kind of present to her, hey, we could give you that special treatment. Like you could have a place here, right? And knowing Tam's situation, of course she's gonna feel that way. And that's why empathy is important, because it's, we shouldn't condemn her for that. She made a mistake. Some were more cataclysmic than others, as Niku would say, and says to her in the finale when she comes back. But that's the beauty of the show and of Tam's story.
Yeah. And I think it's I think we should all approach how we forgive people, or how we empathize with how Tam was treated, and kind of that experience for her. Because I think I think we all deserve to have a whole life, right? Yin and yang, and good and bad. And
I also think that the gift of this show and her story within the show is life doesn't always play out like that, and maybe sometimes that's the right thing, and maybe sometimes that's the wrong thing. But seeing a model of that, especially geared towards kids, I think is a great thing. But we're also big fans of Young Jedi Adventures, which is a show targeted for the littles. But I always walk away being reminded of a really valuable lesson, and even to adult viewers. And I think that these shows present big, important lessons that we can all take into our own lives in bits and pieces, and maybe imagine a world in which we see forgiveness in this way.
I think that's a huge testament to the writers for really being able to approach heavy stuff in such, to simplify it in a way that everybody can understand is amazing.
Tam is a character that left home and came and found this found family within Yeager and Niku, and Kaz does grow on her by the end of the show, despite all of his noodliness.
Isms.
What has found family meant to you within the context of your Star Wars journey, whether looking at Tam or looking at yourself?
Oh, well, I think found family is really important. And for somebody that has left home themselves, I don't live in my home country. And being a member of the queer community and such, I think found family is huge, absolutely huge. And I think a lot of, I know for for this Resistance family and for Star Wars fans, it's belonging, and it's given me so much of a sense of kind of found family and found interest. I'm a person that goes back and forth with my hobbies and things. I've never, I'm into everything and nothing. And I move on quickly, and so kind of finding something and being able to really take a deep dive, and then to be around, others that do the same thing is very enriching. And I think learning from Resistance and learning from being part of a community and a found family, I've been able to apply that to some of my other personal things, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's cool. I love found family. It's so much better when you get to share something with people.
Yes, I firmly agree.
Yeah. Life is what you make it.
Yeah, totally. And I think to that extent, found family is what you make it, because, for some people, the family that they're born into is, some instances it might not be accepting of who you are, or there can be challenges there. So it's really upon the family that you make for yourself. The people who are around you, who lift you up and give you the support you need and the encouragement. And looking at the Resistance cast in general, every time I see a photo, every time I see a video, seeing you guys on the stage at Celebration, although I mistakenly booked a flight that day and couldn't make it. One of my life regrets I will take to my grave, that I missed that panel.
Oh, it was really cool. It was cool.
Yeah.
You did miss a cool thing, but you'll live. You'll live. You can't do everything, right?
We've made it this far, and we'll keep on trucking, but
Exactly.
that one still stings.
Like,
But it is on the
shucks.
internet, so I can watch it whenever I want to pick me up. But
Yeah.
this whole cast, you guys seem like a true family. What was it like being in that recording studio? Like, what are some of your favorite memories, and like, what do you miss the most about this group of people that you got to work with for, this sliver of your entire life?
I just loved going to work. I loved going in. I had my routine down, and I'm not really much of a routine person, but I had my routine, and because you never know what. Everybody was so entertaining and so interesting, right? So you never know what's going to be happening next, or who's going to, and there would be a lot of banter. And I think everybody was just really happy to be there and just really playful and fun. And yeah, it was cool. It was really like, I would, you wake up and you go, get to go to work today, and you go and hang out with these really cool people. And I'm like a sponge, so I just like to learn from the best, and why not? And I really got that was the cherry on top, because I just got to play and to observe some of the coolest and most talented people on the planet, in the galaxy.
Truly.
Even bigger than just one planet.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, very lucky.
Zooming back into the finale a little bit, the moment when Tam is like welcomed back to the Colossus is not like just a favorite Resistance moment, but I think I speak for both Brad and I when we say that it's like a favorite Star Wars moment, like that hug at the end that everybody has. Team Colossus, I was like Oh, it's perfect. How they nailed it. Brilliant.
Can attest. We rewatched it the other night together, and she did tear up when we watched it together.
I was like,
Still
I will
gets us.
cry right now.
It was emotional.
Yeah. What was it like for you to read that script and to be there and perform that scene? And how did the new beginning for Tam's arc in the future resonate with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an optimist and I love, like, I don't mind twists and turns and things, but I love the idea of a fresh start and a new beginning and kind of learning from things and moving forward. And I think it was a lovely, hopeful ending. And I was really happy when I first got to read that script and just see, because I think they tied it up really, really nicely. And I think it was so lovely for family to be back together. And yeah, it was emotional. It was lovely.
Yeah, that final shot where they're all around Tam and they're cheersing, and that's an image that sticks with me, especially right before the pandemic. You're apart from everybody, right? And you miss the people around you, and so I feel like for that entire year, like that image was impressed in my mind, and I'm like, we'll get back there someday, but it definitely kept some of that hope alive. Because the Resistance crew was just special.
Thank you. So I had spent a lot of that season 2 recording separately from the others, and so I really did have that sense of not really seeing anybody, or I did have that loss. We weren't recording together, and I was sort of I did go over to the dark side, and so to get to go back and to kind of have that welcoming back, and it was really, it was great. It was great. You weren't the only ones with a tear in your eye.
Valid.
Let's just say that.
Going back to Celebration, I mentioned the unforgettable panel. People who were there said it was like one of their favorites of that celebration in Chicago. But what was it like to get to watch that season 2 premiere along with fans, and just overall, what was that experience like, getting to be on stage with everybody and just see the crowd that showed up and experience that?
It was electrifying. I mean, that's one of the funnest parts of the job, apart from actually doing it. The fun bit was to get to share it and to kind of just to have that energy. And I think it was really nice for us to feel that energy and the love, and to kind of see, like, we do have fans and they do love the show just as much as we do. And it was just so nice to be together and experience that. So yeah, it was cool. I wish you were there.
Thanks. I'm glad somebody said it.
Now that we've had this time since Resistance has aired, what are you most proud of, having worked on that show, having voiced Tam?
There's lots of things that I'm proud of, but I think I'm most proud of, I'm happy with my performance. I'm proud of with the way that I connected with the character. I'm proud of Tam. She was really cool. And I'm just proud of us, Resistance as a whole. And I think it goes to show that because obviously we all watch things at different times now. It's not linear. It's not as soon as things are released. And I think we've had some really good feedback from Resistance. I think there's, the love has been growing, and will continue to, because it's there now for people to enjoy.
Oh, totally. And I mean, even as recently as the Ahsoka series, which is a live action show, we saw Kaz's dad show up in it as a senator. And it was so cool, like, to see people who maybe didn't watch Resistance be like, who is this guy? And learn kind of that backstory. I was like, oh, the Resistance, like, legacy lives on. And so that also gives me hope that it will continue to live. And that's why we do this event, because not that we think it would be forgotten without it, obviously, but it's just like, it's a great way for us to keep reflecting on the show and when we do get those small nuggets every now and then, it's like, yes, we win.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good feeling.
Totally.
And for you to have been a part of that, such a special time in, I think, Star Wars' history, or like right before the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, and just a really special time, is pretty neat. It's pretty neat, I'm sure. And it's something, to be proud of.
Yeah, and the show in itself was really special and very unique. And I think it was really cool to be able to kind of represent some diversity in the Star Wars galaxy and kind of do that for the whole family. And like kind of have a cast of characters from all different backgrounds. And Star Wars is like that anyway, but I think more so. And I feel like Resistance it rode it till the wheels came off.
Star Wars has been a thing, and it has been good and bad, and I think in terms of its representation, but it always can go farther, and it always can share more perspectives, and be a force for positive change in that way. A force, pun intended. And I think that Resistance was a beautiful just a showcase of a found family who do come from everywhere, and the cast also has a bunch of different backgrounds, and I thought that as a fan was really beautiful, and the fact that it was for kids, like you're welcome in this universe too, is really valuable, and I hope that we continue to see that on screen, both in animated and in live action.
Well, and families, the whole family, as we were a family or are a family, for families to be able to enjoy it together, and to be able to introduce your family to Star Wars in general. Like my nephews think I'm the coolest, and it's because of Star Wars. It's like I'm cool to my nephews because of Star Wars.
There you go.
There you go. So
Susie's the coolest. I retweet that sentiment. But yeah, no, I think I agree with that completely. Like, I think the Star Wars galaxy, like Sarah said, it can always continue growing. We should make the galaxy bigger. And it's cool to think, because of that representation and diversity of Resistance, there might be a kid out there who loves Tam Ryvora the same way that a kid in 1977 loved Luke Skywalker. And that's your legacy. That's the Resistance legacy. And hopefully we can create more of those doors, open more of those doors, and create more of those entry points for young fans and fans that are older, as we keep telling these stories, and that's the importance of it.
Very, very cool.
So thank you for being a part of that. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you for being a part of it.
We love Resistance here.
We're just yappers.
I think that for next year's Remembering Resistance, we should do a group chat.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is an interesting idea.
Right? We could just have a good old powwow.
Yeah, I love that, actually.
We got the emails of some people, so we could make it happen.
Yeah. We could do a little mini reunion.
Absolutely. Yes.
We could maybe invite some people, invite some fans and have a nice little diverse group to chat and stuff. That could be really cool.
I love that so much. I love
Sarah,
it so
let's pocket this, because I actually love that idea. I love that idea.
Pocketing it.
We're gonna put a pin in that, like a very large pin.
You could do this. Look, I believe in you. I'll help you. No one's answering the phone to me, guys. I'll help you.
You know what? We'll pull our power together, and we'll get somewhere for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll figure it out. Speaking of chatting though, and getting groups together, if you could have, this is a fun question we kind of like to often ask authors, but just everybody in general, because there's no wrong answers to this. If you could have Tam chat with any other Star Wars character, whether they be inside Resistance, outside Resistance, anywhere in the Star Wars galaxy, who would you want her to talk to? And what would they chat about?
I think that she probably would talk to Princess Leia, and it would be about joining the Resistance and, being a pilot. I would have to give that to Tam. I would have to give her dream, for sure.
I think that would be very cool.
Yeah, I'd be hustling a position, you know?
Yeah.
I love that so much because, you know, season 2 ended, and I just think there's so many more stories that we could tell with these characters. Yeah, Tam joining the Resistance as a pilot feels so right to me.
Mm-hmm. And a bit more mature, like she's kind of, you know, she's sort of grown and strong and a little bit more fulfilled. That would be quite nice.
Yeah, I like to believe, because in the Rise of Skywalker novelization, it wasn't included in the movie, but there's a section in there where there's some comm chatter happening on all the ships, and we hear Kaz say, like, you know, fireball here, and then Yeager's like, cut the chatter, and then they released some concept art of Torah, Kaz, and Jarek's ships. So I was like, okay, great, we got confirmation that they're there, and I'd like to think that somewhere in all of those ships at the end of the movie, you know, Tam is back flying that Colossus and assisting in the fight. I got to imagine she showed up, you know, to the big
we
finale.
just I think we're at liberty to just say it did happen. It you know, there were so many ships.
Right. And are we,
of course,
do we really want to like unfurl the scroll to figure out which number designation she had? And she was there.
And I think there was some buzz at the time saying like the fireball was up there, you know. So if the fireball was there, she was there.
Exactly.
That's the artistic license that we get.
Right.
Totally, yeah. I still dream of the day when we see a Colossus in live action. That's like the one thing Star Wars is missing. Is like, we saw it in animated form. We need to see it in its full beauty, flying. Yeah. Like giant.
Absolutely. You know. And I loved the fact that it was like a motley crew. I think it would look really cool in live action, actually.
Dare I say, the Colossus is the coolest ship. Like everybody, Millennium Falcon this, Millennium Falcon that. But like
the big old jalopy, you know, ye old faithful.
I'm sorry, the Colossus arising from the water at the end of season 1 to be revealed not as a station, kind of just or but a ship. I'm sorry, I don't understand why not everybody is losing their mind over this in the Star Wars fandom. If they're not, that's very silly of them.
Well, that for me was a very exhilarating moment, and I think just to see that was cool. That was entertainment right there.
Exactly. And the people who aren't freaking out about that on the regular, just like have a moment like, oh my god, the Colossus, they're just people who haven't watched Resistance yet.
Well, they haven't lived.
This is what I'm saying.
They don't know, you know. You don't know what you don't know, people.
Right. And that's why, you know, every year we make sure to # remembering Resistance. Hey, just so, if you know, there's nobody's late to the game. Anybody can watch it anytime. Yeah. Enjoy the wonders of the Colossus crew and the Colossus itself.
Exactly. I love this. Thank you for your good work, you know.
Absolutely, and thank you. Honestly, you and the rest of the Resistance cast gave so much love to this show, so much love to fans, and getting to revisit the show once a year at least brings joy to our lives and many others. And I guess our last question here to kind of sum up everything is, what does Star Wars and Star Wars Resistance mean to you at the end of the day when you kind of consider the personal connection, you know, professional connection, just everything and what it means to you?
Oh, so special. Honestly, it was a bucket list. It's that special. It has a place in my heart. The experience, the people, the personal achievement, but just the character, like just the whole thing, the relationships that I've got to make and the people that I got to meet, and from the fans as well. I was very lucky because I did get to do quite a lot of PR and things where I got to meet some really, really, really cool people and some awesome fans. And yeah, it's one of those, like, my dream came true. I said to that manager, I would love to, my dream is to be a cartoon character. And that was, Tam is that for me. So yeah, I'm happy.
Absolutely. And we're happy too. So seriously, thank you for being part of Star Wars. Thank you for being here today. We are very grateful for your time and all that good stuff. But before we let you go, where can our listeners find you online? And what work do you have coming up, or anything that you coming up that you'd like us to promote, or just hey, keep your eyes on this or that?
Okay, let's see. Well, obviously, I'm glad that you mentioned Tales of the Empire, because I think we couldn't not mention that today. I actually want to highlight a video game that it's called Unmasked Truths. And it's a bit of a cross, it's like an open world game, murder mystery, a cross between like White Lotus and Hunger Games in a Baroque style. Lots of very diverse queer characters and all sorts of like really fun stuff, and just a wonderful bunch of people to work with. And so I think there's 8 or 9 chapters. We have recorded 2, and I think in spring 2025 they'll be coming out. And I think we're going to be doing like a GoFundMe to try and fund the rest of the chapters. But this game is going to be so much fun, and that has you on the edge of your seat. So if there's any gamers out there that like the sound of that, then yeah, please do check out Unmasked Truths, and if you can, support and be a part of it. And what else can I say? Yeah, just watch this space. I'm always up to something. I more recently started a second career, as well as, not in replacement, but as well as in wine. So I've been going to school. And so if there's anyone out there that, you know, loves Star Wars and loves Resistance and loves wine, there will be some things that I'll start sharing. And so I would love any support, or just to collaborate, or, you know, just to share some of those things. So if you like wine, join me on this wild wine ride. And you know, yeah, that's it really. Just on the whole, just busy.
Yeah, I just pulled up the Unmasked Truths. Your Christine Brown is the character, and
Yeah.
she's a multilingual voyager.
Yes, and queer icon.
Yes, let's go. and her art here looks fantastic. I love the look, very like piratey, very very cool.
Yeah.
So that I will look forward to that. And yeah, wine. I mean, you know, if we're talking about going to Lucasfilm's office and asking for action figures, we know there's Skywalker wine. There's like a Skywalker vineyard.
Yeah. So, well, this is what I'm thinking. So while you're there doing that, I'll come support you and be like, yes, we're going to do the toys. But on the side, we're just going to, I would, you know, ideally next year, I would like to take part in a harvest, because I'm very handsy. I love manual labor is my thing, people. And so next year I would love to do a harvest. So, you know, I'm just saying, Skywalker wines, here I am, you know. And if you want, you know, Tam whipping up, you know,
I love it.
There's some synergy there.
Harvesting your grapes, we could do that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna melt, like my aim is to just meld all the things that I love together and just be happy.
I think that's the life goal.
Yeah.
My new headcanon, Tam and Kaz opened up a vineyard on the Colossus. It's on one of the floors. There's got to be a vineyard on there somewhere.
Right.
How does Aunt Z get all that, you know,
exactly,
all those drinks for her bar?
But it won't be like wine. It'll be like some kind of special, kind of weird, juicy wine.
Yeah, like Star Warsy kind of.
Yeah, themed, Star Warsy wine.
There's Star Warsy wine they have at Oga's Cantina, like in the theme park, and it's blue. It's actually from the books. It's called, I think, Tonneray wine, and it's blue.
See, now
so it would Star Warsy.
See now what Skywalker Vineyards, what they could do, right? You're welcome, by the way. No, but they could do a lovely Tonneray edition. I mean, it's not going to be blue, right? But a Tonneray edition for the fans of wine and Star Wars. collaborated with me.
See,
Let's go.
see, there we go. I love the vision. Yes.
I will
already
buy
bought-
many bottles.
I'm bought in. I'm bought in.
Sold.
Sold. Well,
So, yeah.
Suzie, thank you so much. Again, it's been such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining us, Remembering Resistance Day. And until next time, may the Force be with you, always.
Oh, thank you. And may the Force be with you.
Thank you all for listening to this episode of Friends of the Force. And once again, a huge thank you to Suzie McGrath for joining us on this year's Remembering Resistance event. We hope you all enjoyed this episode. We hope that last week you remembered Resistance with us. And we hope that if you haven't checked out Star Wars Resistance, you definitely should give it a try because there's something for everybody in that series. And there are 2 seasons that are just waiting for you. They're just waiting.
Watch him. Niku's there.
Yeah. He loves
And
food.
I love him.
Food, 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 food.
And don't you love food, listener?
Yeah. We all love food. Niku is all of us.
That's right.
But speaking of all of us, Sarah and I, all of us community collectively, follow us on our socials, see what we're up to. And if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to us on the podcast feed of your choice so that all of our new episodes, High Republic and all, drop into your feed. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up into this year, next year, the year after, many
Whoa.
years. We're never
Whoa.
stopping. Remembering
Oh my God.
Resistance till we're 80. Let's go.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Obviously. Thanks as well to our patrons who help keep the lights on here at Friends of the Force. So thank you to Brian, Ben, Cheryl, Clay, David, Emma, Jennifer, Katie, Knights of Ren, Krista, Leanne, Logan, Lucy, Lindsay, Matthew, Nathan, Nicole, Rob, Ruth, Santa, Sky Talkers, Tom, Travis, and our newest patron comment. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next time, Team Colossus out.
Bye-bye.